President Joko Widodo and the delegation arrived in Cambodia for the handover of the ASEAN chairmanship in 2023. President Joko Widodo emphasized that ASEAN must be stronger as the epicenter of world growth. ASEAN must remain a peaceful region upholding human values and democracy and international law and not becoming anyone's proxy. Economic cooperation must be strengthened so that ASEAN will prosper and progress. Then regarding the preparations for the G20 summit, he had received a report that everything is ready. 17 heads of state are present, and this is very encouraging in the midst of this period. He added that Indonesia will continue to fight for world peace and be part of the solution to various crises and economic recovery. As a country that owns the largest mangrove forest in the world, namely 3.3 million hectares of mangrove forest, Indonesia wants to contribute to climate change, and this Ngurah Rai Tahura is an example. Success story how the 1,300 hectares of mangrove forest were planted, repaired, maintained. This one was previously a fish pond area and is now home to 33 species of mangrove trees, which are also home to more than 300 fauna such as fish, shrimp, birds, monkeys, snakes, all of which can live in this mangrove forest. The impression of the leaders after seeing them was that many were surprised that they had made it this far, and here they said this was a concrete job because there is a capacity of 6 million seeds. Next year, Indonesia will have 33 locations, with currently 5 have been completed, the rest are in progress. President Joko Widodo thought that's what inspires leaders to do concrete things both in the green energy transition and in the green economy towards climate change. G20 leaders and the invited guests alternately arrived at the Ngurah Rai Grand Forest Park Tahura, Denpasar, Bali on the 16th of November 2022. The arrival of these world leaders were immediately welcomed by the President of the Republic of Indonesia, Jokowi, an activity of G20 Indonesia series that is planting mangroves and witnessing the process of mangrove forest conservation in Tahura, Ngurah Rai, Bali. Apart from the G20 leaders, several other guests were also seen participating in this event, along with the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus as the Director General of WHO, the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and the Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez. The Indonesian president was accompanied by Bali Governor Iwayan Koster, Minister of Environment and Forestry Siti Nobaya Bakar, and Minister of Public Works and Public Housing Basuki Hadi Muljono.
Show you something. Aku sampai tulis tanda senyum karena takut saking nervousnya lupa senyum.
Ahead of the G20 summit on the 15th to 16th of November 2022 in Bali, the Indonesian government has prepared security. It was recorded that 18,030 joint personnel took part in the event. TNI Commander General Andika Perkasa explained that 14,300 TNI personnel also provided security. The remaining 3,730 are from the Indonesian police and other institutions. The TNI even deployed massive security for VVIP class guests at the G20 summit. Security with full strength will be alerted by operating the main weapon system or defense equipment on land, air and sea. 2 reconnaissance aircraft, 1 Boeing transport aircraft, 2 Hercules transport aircraft are reported to be on alert. Then 1 aircraft for medical evacuation, 2 F-16 Fighting Falcon aircraft, 2 Sukhoi aircraft and 15 helicopters also became part of the security. TNI also alerted 58 armored tactical vehicles and a number of other supporting vehicles. Meanwhile, at sea, 14 Indonesian warships KRI were stationed in the waters of Nusa Dua Bandung, Bali, which is close to the G20 site. President Joko Widodo and his entourage landed at Suvarnabhumi Airport, Bangkok, Thailand for the APEC summit. Thailand's Deputy Prime Minister Wisanu Kriangam and his wife, Indonesian Ambassador to Thailand Rahmat Budiman and his wife, and the Indonesian Defence Attaché in Bangkok, Yesi Christian Mambu, welcomed President Widodo and his entourage upon the arrival. The President and First Lady Iriana Joko Widodo were scheduled to attend a dinner for leaders and delegates attending the APEC. The APEC summit is the latest in a series of important meetings attended by President Widodo following the 40th and 41st ASEAN summits in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and the G20 summit in Bali. Indonesia received the ASEAN Chairmanship relay from Cambodia and will become ASEAN chair in 2023. The handover of the chairmanship took place at the closing ceremony of the 40th and 41st summits in Phnom Penh. Indonesian President Joko Widodo said that the chairmanship of Indonesia will make ASEAN matters epicentrum of growth. He said ASEAN must be a stable and peaceful region and an anchor for world stability. ASEAN must also consistently uphold international law and not act as a proxy for anyone. The President also wants ASEAN to become a fast-growing, inclusive and sustainable economic region. Increasing the capacity of ASEAN institutions is also a concern of President Jokowi in order to be able to answer the challenges of the next 20 years. He hopes that by 2045, ASEAN must be more adaptive, responsive and competitive. At the end of his remarks, the head of state invited all ASEAN leaders to attend the ASEAN summit in Indonesia next year.
صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن زايد آل نهيان.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo and the United Arab Emirates UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan inaugurated the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in Surakarta, Central Java. During the inauguration ceremony, the two world leaders signed the inscription at the Grand Mosque. After the signing, both leaders walked together while reviewing facilities inside the Grand Mosque. Not long afterwards, the two leaders planted salah trees together in the North Plaza of the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque. According to the Islamic Religious Affairs Director of the Indonesian Religious Affairs Ministry, Adib, the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in Surakarta is a miniature of the Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi. The mosque can accommodate about 10,000 people. The Grand Mosque would be managed by the Sheikh Zayed Solo Grand Mosque Management Agency. The management agency would be supervised by the Religious Affairs Ministry. Indonesian President Joko Widodo departed for Bangkok, the capital of Thailand, to attend the 2022 Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC Summit. The head of state and his entourage took off from I Gusti Ngurah Rai International Airport in Bali on the 17th of November 2022. The APEC Summit is the last series of summits after the ASEAN Summit in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and the G20 Summit in Bali, Indonesia. According to the President, during the APEC summit, Indonesia will focus on promoting an inclusive and sustainable economic recovery. Leave no one behind. Digital transformation, green economy and downstreaming are Indonesia's priorities at this year's APEC, explained the former mayor of Surakarta. APEC represents nearly 3 billion people and 60% of the world's gross domestic product GDP. Therefore, regional cooperation should become the engine of world economic growth. The resort island of Bali is fully prepared to host the gathering of leaders from G20 countries, which account for over 80% of the world's gross domestic product, President Joko Widodo said. Leaders like outgoing Brazilian President Bolsonaro, newly elected UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping are expected to attend the two-day summit starting next week. 17 heads of state and government have confirmed that they will attend the summit. Armed Forces Commander General Andika Perkasa was also in Bali to inspect security arrangements to ensure the safety of high-level guests who include some of the world's most powerful leaders. Andika said more than 14,000 military personnel will be involved to secure Bali from inside the island and the surrounding waters and sky, with the deployment of 14 battleships, 9 military aircraft and 15 helicopters. He said the Indonesian military is coordinating with the security detail of every world leader who is slated to attend the summit. The 17th G20 summit, with the host country setting 3 priority issues including global health architecture, digital economy transformation and energy transition. President Xi Jinping departed from Beijing on special plane to attend the 17th G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia at the host's invitation. President Xi Jinping is accompanied by his wife Madame Peng Liyuan, Ding Xuxiang, member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau and Director of the General Office of the CPC Central Committee Wang Yi, member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee, State Council and Foreign Minister, and He Lifeng, member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee, Vice Chairman of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference and Chairman of the National Development and Reform Commission, among others. The special plane carrying President Xi Jinping arrived at Ngurah Rai International Airport on the island of Bali. Indonesia's coordinator for cooperation with China and coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs and Investment Luhut bin Sarpanjaitan, Governor of Bali Wayan Koster and other Indonesian senior officials warmly greeted President Xi at the airport. Lu Kang, China's ambassador to Indonesia, also came to the airport to greet the arrival. Indonesia's President Joko Widodo and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping are expected to witness a virtual dynamic test of the Southeast Asian country's first bullet train on November 16th on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Bali. The train is built for the 142-kilometer high-speed railway network linking the Jakarta capital and the neighboring city of Bandung in West Java. The bullet train, which operates at the speed of 350 km per hour, is expected to reduce the travel time between the two cities from about 3 hours to 45 minutes. Jokowi expected to showcase trial run of Jakarta-Bandung Railway project during G20 summit. The overall construction progress has reached 79.51% and the investment progress has reached 90.60%. President Jokowi and President Xi Jinping to bolster Indonesia-China ties. It is targeted that on December 31st, all building construction, mainline stations including Pandalarang Station will be completed.